Hello everybody, Amy from Making Space. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for an activity inspired by young designers. Today, my challenge for you all is to start thinking about trend prediction. This is something lots of people do who work in the fashion industry. They are responsible for predicting the trends that are going to be popular next season or 2 seasons in advance. And it's a really nice activity to get you to really look at different trends, what they might be, and then do some research around it before coming up with some designs. So the activity is almost twofold. We're going to start by creating a bit like a mood board, a trend prediction board, and then you can create some designs inspired by it. So it's a really lovely activity. It will give you a few new skills because you really have to look at trends, or you can predict your own. And when I say trends, it could be things like floral print, colour, animal print, safari, monochrome, metallics. It could be anything. It's completely up to you, and you can have a look through some magazines and see what's popular, or you can come up with your own. That's completely up to you. Now for this one here, I chose colour and print. Almost a bit of a clash. I quite like the idea of lots going on. So you can see I've created my trend prediction board by kind of cutting out magazine imagery. And I've got a mix on here. I've got obviously some fashion looks here. I've also got some prints and artwork as well. And then I've got some objects, you know, some cups and things like that, and some printed sort of different cloths and things like that. And actually I've just realised I've not stuck this one down, but you know, things like jewellery as well can go on there as well. Whatever you feel encompasses the trend that you're going to focus on. Prediction boards are also a great way to choose a colour palette as well. And what I'd recommend doing is, once you've got everything stuck down, to pick out the colours that you see reoccurring quite a lot in your trend prediction board. And then once you've done that, of course, you can go on and you can design a collection. So you can see here's the inspiration. It's bright, it's lots of clashing prints and colours, and the final collection as well. And there should be some correlation between the two. This kind of sort of patterned Fair kind of jumper design you can see repeated across here, you know, this kind of textured skirt. There should be some kind of relation between the two. That's the idea. So let's pop these to the side, and I'll talk you through what you're going to need today. So you're going to want some old magazines. It doesn't matter what ones you use. Some fashion mags are obviously great, but also things like interior magazines are really useful. And if you've not got access to magazines, get online, you know, have a look on Google image search, and then you can just print the images off as well. Your basic tools, you're going to want a pencil, a black fine liner, a glue stick, and a pair of paper scissors. And then you're going to want some coloured markers as well. And you're going to need just some plain paper, plain white A4 paper. Obviously, if you've got bigger, you can go bigger as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your imagery. So for this, you're going to want to flick through some magazines and just rip out some imagery that kind of appeals or links to your trend. Don't worry at this stage about being too precise. You just want to kind of rip out anything that you think meets and complements your design, or your trend, sorry, that you're going for. Let's take that over there. Now I'm not going to spend ages doing this. I've kind of done some already. But once you've got a selection of images, you can then start cutting them out. And this is your chance to kind of take them from just looking like magazine pages to something a little bit more exciting. So as I mentioned, it doesn't just have to be clothes. So for this trend, I should have said I'm going to do floral, bright floral. So not kind of ditzy, kind of muted florals. I want bright florals in your face. So like I said, once you've got all your images and you think you've got enough, you can start cutting them out. Now I'm just using a scissors. You can, if you want to, use a craft knife, but I find this works just fine. And don't worry about being too precise. If you know cutting out's not your forte, you find it a bit challenging, just do the best you can. You know, you can even have raw edges, you can tear them. It's completely up to you. Find a style that works for you, and you know what you find easy. But you can see I'm not being too precise. and then make a little pile. I've already got a little pile on the go over here of things that you've collected that you like. So we'll just do a couple more of these and then we'll start making the mood board. And these kind of little images that you pull out, these are the things that are going to inspire your collection. So don't put something in if you don't like it. You know, if it's floral, but it doesn't, I don't really like it, you know, don't put it in. Only put in the things that you like. So I chose this because I like the idea of almost like a matching dress coat, an undergarment that kind of matches, and obviously it's bright floral, and I think that's quite cool. And you can see I'm not being too particular about my cutting out. As long as I've got the rough outline, that's great. And you know, you could do things like leave the gaps in between the legs if it's getting a bit small and fiddly. And let's just do one more from up here because there's some quite bright florals. Move those aside. And you know, you could do this project again and again and again. You know, you could try and do a different trend prediction board for, you know, 4, 5, 6 different trends, you know, spots and stripes, monochrome. You know, you can use whatever you want that kind of inspires you. So we'll leave it at that for now. So once you've got a collection of images that you're going to use for your mood board, grab your bit of plain white paper, and now you can start playing about with the composition of your trend prediction board. Now it's completely up to you. Some people like theirs really busy. If I grab this one back, you can see this one here was really busy. There wasn't much white space left at all. Or you might decide that you like more white space around it. That's completely up to you to kind of, you know, choose what you think looks best. And you know, you don't have to go with what you do the first time as well. You can kind of put something on, think, oh, actually, no, I don't like that. Change it up a bit as well. Completely up to you. Now, you can see lots of things you cut out from the magazine might have some text on. You can either work with it, or you can have a go at sort of tucking it under certain things to hide it. You know, if you've got someone that's sitting, you can kind of maybe make it so it looks like they're sitting. And have fun with it. This is, you know, this is part of a creative process here that you're working through. You know, choosing what's going where, coming out of the composition that's kind of aesthetically pleasing. You know, that's part of designing. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm quite happy with that. There's some nice white space around it. So now what you want to do is you want to glue things down. And so we're just going to grab a glue stick. And obviously you kind of want to glue the things that are at the bottom first. So what you can do, you can take it all off and transfer it over. Or you can just do a little glue dot in the middle of things just to hold them down. And then you can go back over and glue the edges down. So I try not wobble my table too much. And it doesn't matter if it changes a little bit from your original design, as long as you're happy with the final composition. That's all that matters. So get her back in there. And we've got our sitting lady that was kind of there. Let's just shuffle these ones out a second. And, you know, just, yeah, like I said, have fun with this bit. It's part of being a designer, you know, doing these inspiration boards, trend prediction boards, mood boards. It's a great way of visualising your designs before you start the actual design process. Sort of putting together all the things that you like best. I'm just going to stick mine down relatively quickly so we can start on the design stage of it. Oh, got a big blob of glue there. Just use that on that one. And then, like I said, you can go back and then just stick down the edges, any bits that are still kind of sticking up. Let's get our very cool chair on there. Okay, now obviously you can take a bit more time and care and consideration over yours. Just doing mine quickly because it's demonstration. And then feel free to add in some text. You can either print this out on a computer and add it in, you could use stencils, or you can just handwrite it. It's completely up to you. The kind of things that you want to write on there, you want to write on obviously what your inspiration is. So let's call this Bright Florals. So I'm going to choose a pen that kind of... And you know, it's supposed to be a visual piece of work, so you know, make it look cool. And then, like I said, it's a nice idea to put in your colour palette. So I've already selected some pens that I think complement the colours on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a DIY colour palette down the side of my mood board. And you can do this anyway. Those little paint kind of samples that you get in, you know, B&Q and hardware stores, they're great. You can go and grab some of those. You can just grab your colouring pencils and do it that way. You could use the computer, print them out. You could use magazines and just cut out just colour samples and stick them on. You could bind bits of string, you know, have fun with it. This is the part of the kind of the fun part. So we've got lots of kind of warm colours, and then we've got a few contrasting blues there. Green. And I've put in a black, like a really dark grey as well, because there's some dark in amongst it. And there we go. That's your kind of trend prediction board. You can also write on here things that you like if you really want to pick out. So, you know, bright clashing colours. You know, I quite like this V neckline that's here, that's also kind of mirrored on this dress here. I like the neutral backgrounds with maybe like the bold prints. To me, it's quite a spring summery kind of collection because of the colours in there and the florals. You know, feel free to add more detail on here. It's your trend prediction board, so, you know, make it your own. And then, of course, you can use this as inspiration to design some clothes, which I've started to do here. So you can see there's some real correlation. So this dress is very heavily influenced by this look and the boots. I quite like the contrast of the black knee-high boots with the floral dress. I thought that was a really nice theme. This neckline is inspired by this low V, but, you know, a bit of mismatch of this sort of colourway. This sort of coat over the undergarment is again inspired by this look here. So what we can do is we can do one more. So you're going to want your templates that we've been using sort of most weeks. So just pop that underneath so you can see the outline of the body. And then sketch it in. So keeping your trend prediction board to hand. So this time I'm going to do something inspired by almost this shirt kind of look, which has got a loose kind of tie sort of under the neckline. And it's got sort of long cut, long sleeves, so I have a little bit of a cuff. And let's have a little look. Let's do that tucked into some, maybe some really, really short shorts, like what's on here, that we've not done sort of shorts yet. They're all kind of sort of skirt inspired. And you can think, does it work? And actually, no, I think I would like it all to be sort of skirt length. So then it's a chance, you know, this is why we do it in pencil first, because then you can be like, no, that didn't quite work. Let's keep it with those big kind of skirts. Maybe, you know, really big floral print on this one. Sorry, try not to bobble the camera too much. And then let's put the boots in. I say it every week, you know, don't let the hands, the faces, the bits that people worry about when they come to do drawing, especially sort of fashion drawing or drawing people, don't let that put you off at all. I've deliberately kept mine really minimal to show that it doesn't need to be complex to look good. And then once we've done the pencil marks, we can then go over with pen. Now I'm just using these sort of permanent fine liners. I find they work really well for sort of illustration. And obviously I'm doing my designs very quickly for sort of demonstration purposes, but you know, you can really take your time with yours, you know, really come up with your designs first. Try my little hand in there. And then we need some kind of floral on here as well, so let's do a slightly smaller print on here. And you can see, you know, I'm not really even drawing flowers, I'm just drawing kind of squiggles, which kind of indicate. So I think I'm going to be inspired by maybe this sort of lovely burnt orange colour that's here for the background of this one. And then maybe we'll do pink and blue and blue and green kind of flowers on top. Maybe a tiny bit of pink as well. So when you're adding the colours, if you're using these pens or anything that's very pigmented and you know, has a lot of ink in it, make sure you just keep a bit of paper underneath because it will come through, as you can see here. And again, don't feel you need to colour in everything 100%. I think it's quite nice when you can kind of slightly see bits of white through it. I don't like to colour mine in 100%, but obviously you're the designer, you do what you want to do on your design. You are the designer, so it's up to you. And then we'll put in some little blue designs. Let's get in there with some little pink bits as well. And then we can go in and just add the background colour in. Okay. Last thing to do is to find my dark grey and just add some colour to the boots. Okay, so that's it for the activity. So when you're finished, you should have your illustration alongside your trend prediction board. And obviously the theme on here, bright florals, should be apparent. There should be a link between the two. That's really important. And that's it. It's a really simple activity, but something you can do so much with. You know, like I said, you know, once you've done one, have a go. Do a different one. Do something completely different. If you've done bright and floral, why don't you try doing jewel tone stripes and spots or something else as well, or metallics, futuristic. There's so many different ways that you can do this activity and come up with lovely different examples. So that's it. I hope you have a go, and if you do, please do share your results with us because we'd love to see. Okay guys, we'll see you next week. Have fun and take care, and bye.